Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do my full review on the Arcane design Necronaut. So guys, this is just a sweet ass unique piece here from Arcane Design from Israel Backus. He's just a really cool dude, cool designer. I've chatted with him a little bit now. He's donated to my giveaway. He's going to include a shirt. So the winner of that will be able to just pick their size, and he'll send them a shirt, which is cool. And yeah, guys, it's just a really interesting knife, and it's a good knife. I'm glad that I finally picked one up. This is a kind of special limited edition one that was modded by Fanatic Edge. They did a tumble and whatever black wash on the blade, and then they did the same thing on the handle, but they did this gray, I guess. Not exactly sure what it's called, but I think it's a wash of some kind, tumbling or whatever. But yeah, it has this gray handle with these gray or plain tie pivot collars, and then this kind of black washed blade. I mean, look at this thing, guys. It's a freaking it's crazy as hell. And that's what he was going for. He's really into horror and sci-fi space stuff. That's why it's called the Necronaut. You could see this kind of picture of an astronaut right there. I think it's like a zombie astronaut. And then his logo over here. This is an M390 steel and obviously titanium. The OEM on this is Best Tech. I will say right off the bat, I think it would be a better knife if it was Riot. I just have to be honest. Riot is so good. And Best Tech, while they're good, they do have some issues. And a lot of that comes into play with action. And I'll get to that in that section, but I kind of want to quickly go over the issues I had. So this knife showed up, and it was completely off center. I mean, it was way over to the clip side. And then when I would close it, it would kind of like right here, it would just like rattle back and forth and make a rattling sound. Like not like that, but sort of like that sound, but it was like, I could just shake it. It was weird. And, you know, that bothered me, obviously. So I took it apart, and I contacted Israel, and he was super nice about it, and he apologized. He said it should have never shipped that way. And he offered, you know, I could send it back. He would take a look and try to tune it. If that didn't work, he'd refund me, because, again, limited product. This isn't just a stock item he has. He had a few made by, or modded by Fanatic Edge, and this is one of those, so... but he was great about it, and I said, hey, man, I'm going to give it a shot. So I took it apart, and I did my best to tune it, and I have it pretty much dead centered. You can see that action is incredible. I will say there is some blade play, but it's pretty damn light, considering, right? And I Loctited it there, and it's been good ever since. I will say I can move this pivot collar a little bit. I don't know if you hear that. It moves a little bit. But, I mean, it hasn't moved since I Loctited it, and that's not an issue with this knife, really. It's an issue with Best Tech. Even Veros have it where the pivot walks. You have to Loctite it in position. But usually with their knives, when you tighten the pivot, it's centered. And then it's a game of loosening the pivot a little bit to get the action you want and hope it doesn't, you know, wander off center. This one, when the pivot is tight, is way off center. So I do think that possibly, because Israel is sending me a antimatter to review. It's his collaboration with Something Obscene Company. Felix over at Something Obscene Company, the guy behind this beast right here, the J-Cape. Look at these two side by side, guys. just something obscene, right? I mean, it's just so cool to have these side by side. I really have enjoyed having these knives and talking to these makers. They're both really cool. And they collaborated on a knife. And it's basically a flipper that is a dagger. So it's dual-sided dagger, sharp on both sides. It's going to be crazy. So he sent me one to review. And I'm thinking, I mean, unless I fall in love with it and want to buy it, when I send that one back, I may include this and just see if maybe there's something he can do. I don't know if he has parts he can swap, or maybe he just can do something that I can't, because I'm not a professional knife. Like, I don't make knives or design them like he does. I tune them pretty good, but I'm no expert. So maybe he could do something to kind of get it where it's completely centered with the pivot tightened. That would be cool. If not, I think I'd still just prefer to have it this way than not have the knife, right? That's how much I like this thing. So, just wanted to go over that. His customer service is absolutely fantastic. And I do think this is kind of a rare case where something was a little off. And I do think maybe that there was a little confusion because he had them modded by Fanatic Edge, and maybe he thought that they were tuned and everything by Fanatic Edge, and maybe Fanatic Edge thought he would tune them when he got them back. I don't know. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and he rose to the occasion and more. He's been fantastic. So I really appreciate Israel. Anyway, aesthetically, he says, like 5 minutes in? This thing is absolutely stunning. I've always loved this design since I first saw it, like, I don't know, 6 months ago maybe. Just this straight line right here into this ridiculous Tanto. This is the craziest Tanto I've ever seen. And I love me some Tantos, guys. You know I love Chavez knives. Those Tantos are crazy. I can't, off the top of my head, but like, I like some really crazy stuff. And this is out there, guys, but it's phenomenal. It is such a cool looking knife. And then it goes into this handle, again, straight, it's like the most symmetrical knife I've ever seen. Like, this tip to this tip, that tip to that tip, the way it all fits into the handle. I mean, he really is a good designer, and I cannot wait for his new models. I pre-ordered one, and I can't wait to pre-order the next one, the Abyss. Oh, God. Anyway, it has this strider kind of, diagonal here, and then it goes into this, it's a little bit sculpted here, and then you have a swell here into the flipper tab, and then boop, bah, into that tip. Insanity. So I think it looks absolutely sexy. This is going to be a hit or miss, guys. This is going to be oh my God, that's ugly as hell. That's crazy looking, maybe not ugly, crazy looking. Or you're going to be like, damn, that's fucking cool, right? And that's me. I immediately saw this in pictures. I was like, damn, that's cool. And I've always wanted one since, but I found out about it after the pre-order, and they were pretty rare to get on the secondary. And when they were there, it was like $400. So I just never picked one up. And then he did these few modded ones through Fanatic Edge, and I found out he was dropping them on his site at 6 p.m. like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago on Wednesday. And I stalked that website, guys. 6 p.m. I was at the doctor's office. I had an appointment. Refresh. Their internet sucks. I was like, God damn it. And 6 o'clock, I ordered a shirt right before it to make sure I had all my info in. And I got one. And they had this one, and then they had a black handle with stonewash blade and teal pivot collars, which I thought was cool too. But his next design, the crawler, the one I pre-ordered, is black with titanium pivot collar, I think. Or no, gray, black. I don't know, whatever. But this matches it pretty good, so that's why I really wanted this one instead. But yeah, anyway, aesthetically, I like it. Ergos. It does not look comfortable. I will give it that. You look at this and you're like, that cannot be comfortable and it cannot cut well, right? My hand fits in here surprisingly well. Like, I fit my index finger right here, and my ring finger or middle finger kind of sits right here at the end of this swell. And then my ring and pinky fit at the end there, and it is actually comfortable. It's a thin handle, but it's comfortable. The clip is nice and flat, plateaued. There's no pointy areas. And for a lefty, I don't have it in my palm or anything. This jimping is spaced out, and it looks aggressive, but it's not. It's very well done. It feels comfortable. You get enough traction, but it doesn't hurt. I actually really like the ergos on this knife, guys. Right-handed, it's the same, except for I have that clip in my palm. But again, it's not pokey at all, so it's perfectly fine. I really have enjoyed carrying this knife, or handling this knife. And that'll take us into carry. So it's not the greatest carry because you have all of that. You kind of have this like triangle sticking out of your pocket from here up. But it surprisingly is not an issue. I carry it in my back left pocket at all times because I'm afraid it's going to open in my pocket. It's not the strongest detent. I don't think it would, but I don't know. Just to be safe, back left, right? And it carried there pretty well. I think, you know, every time I carried it, which was like 5 or 6 days, I really liked this knife, guys. It was hard for me to get it out of my pocket. And I got it like the same day I got the haptic. And those two were just in my pocket constantly together. Haptic up front and the Necronaut in the back. Flipper only, but they both are just good, man. But yeah, I would occasionally, you know, once or twice a day, I'd have to adjust it and kind of put it back straight to the corner of my jeans. But that's kind of any knife, really. It's not the lightest knife. It's 4.8 ounces, I believe. 3.5 inches on the blade, by the way. And I think 4.5 on the handle. So carry is good, but not like great. It's not, I don't know. If there's like a scale of 1 to 10 for carry, it's like a 5, right? Like there's nothing wrong with the clip or the tension or any of that. That part is really good, and I think that's why it kind of negates any of the sort of issues you would have with the shape, right? Yeah, so cutting. Guys, it looks ridiculous, but it is very sharp. It comes down to a thin edge. I mean, it's got to be high teens behind the edge. It has a, I don't know if it's a hollow. I think it's a flat, but kind of looks like a hollow. It may be a hollow grind, a shallow hollow grind. I don't know. It has this compound grind, so, you know, you have a little grind here and the grind here. Sorry, I thought I heard my kid. I'm on dad duty. I have the monitor. But yeah, it cuts like a dream, guys. It's just crazy that it has this super long edge on this tip, or on this edge, I guess. But that edge cuts as good as this one. It's just interesting. I haven't found like some crazy good use case for it. Other than, you know, my usual Tanto is good for getting into a package type thing. Okay, sorry. So my kid woke up. It just cuts very well. It may not be the most like useful edge ever, but I'm sure there are really good use cases for this that I can't think of. If you have this knife, or you are, you know, a blade guy, an edge guy, tell me what this would be great for, because I do think it has its purpose other than just looking cool. But it works. I mean, the edge is sharp. I should say the edges are sharp. I mean, that was me. Hang on. I mean, I don't know if I'm getting hung up. Yeah, I think that was me. It just had something on there. You'll see this edge. If I get it right, I suck at this, and it's really hard with this type of edge to get the right angle. Come on, Kev. There you go. I mean, you get my point. Like, it's really good. especially if you're not an idiot and you know how to cut paper and you're not on camera or whatever. But I really enjoy cutting with this. I opened some packages. I cut some paper like you just saw, trying to get the angle right to get it to cut, which, you know, whatever. And I think I cut a little bit of cardboard with this guy, and it was a freaking cardboard destroyer. I don't know if it's the way the edges, because you have a super straight edge right here, and then another one right here. Like, I don't know. And then it goes up into these wedges, but they don't really hold you back. It's not the thickest blade stock. I think it's really good. It almost has this natural, like, mirrored edge on it. And I don't know if that was Fanatic Edge who did that for this specific one. But anyway, I enjoy the cutting, right? Sounds. I find the sounds very enjoyable. I would call it out of 10. Again, I think it would be like a 6, right? Usually things are like a 5 when they're just like, you know, they're not great, but they're not bad. This is a 6. It's definitely better than like, but it's not like out of this world, right? Irony. Excuse me. All right, so we covered aesthetics, ergos, carry, cutting, and sounds. Action. This is where this knife is interesting to me. So at first, I was like, how's the detent, right? And I did this. And I was like, oh boy, here we go, right? We got a light detent, boys. Ah, crap, right? And then I realized, look at this flipper tab. Look how minimal it is. I mean, look at the knife. And then look at that flipper tab. The way it is angled, the shape, the jimping. And then it kind of dawned on me. You're supposed to just kind of like get your finger in here on there, get your tip onto that jimping, and then kind of just either push button it in or kind of just drag it down. And oh my God, guys, it is so fun to flip. It really is. It's interesting. Yeah, I can fail it, but the detent is good. You have to understand that this is a pretty heavy, like, chunk of M390 here, right? And yeah, it just, if it was stronger, it would hurt because of how minimal that flipper tab is. It would hurt to flip if it was too strong. So I completely understand why the detent is the way it is, and I really like it. And I'm the detent snob, guys. So at first I was like, and then I understood how it was supposed to go. And I love it. Absolutely love the opening action on this knife. The closing action. So you'll see I have it dialed. It drops down to your nail. Boom. Sorry. Drops down to your nail. Boom. And it has this crazy, I mean, look at this. I don't even know what you call this thing. I've never seen a notch thing like that before that locks in down there. And then the flipper tab down here, you can see that notch. It's just a really interesting design, you know? But the action is absolutely fantastic. I love it. I have very much enjoyed flipping this knife. Do I wish it had a, you know, flickable hole? Yeah, but wait for the next one, guys. It would have killed this design. So I totally get why it's flipper only. I do want to note one important thing for lefties. You'll see here, that pivot collar is covering the lock bar. At the top of the lock bar, it's covering it. And that makes such a big difference for me because I can put my thumb here now. It doesn't put pressure onto the lock bar because that pivot collar is protecting you. I absolutely love that. I don't know if that was on purpose or not. Probably not for the reason that I'm stating, but it absolutely functions that way, and it makes it great for lefties. Obviously, you can't, you know, reverse the clip or anything, but in terms of deployment and everything, it works great for a lefty, so I really, really like that. So yeah, guys, I will say, because of the minimal flipper tab, you saw it, I do occasionally kind of slip off, or I just kind of miss it or something, you know? But that can happen with anything, really, and it's kind of just a matter of each person. Like, some people are a little bit more deliberate, or they make sure they're actually on there before they flip. Sometimes I get so fidgety that I'm like, I'm just like banging my finger down. So, yeah, that's action. Love it. Value. So I think these were new. They were like $310 or $320 for the like normal version of this, which came with like black handles, a red pivot collar, and either a black blade or a stonewash or a satin blade. I think those are your options. And maybe they had one with a gray handle, red pivot collar, and then those 3 blade options. Something like that, right? Those are like $310, $320 for pre-order. This one with the mods was $350. It's made by Best Tech, good OEM. If I'm comparing it to something like Vero, that price is good. I mean, Vero charges the mini impulses, I think we're around that price, $350, titanium and M390. The synapses are a little more because they have inlays and stuff like that. Those are like $395. So they're made by Best Tech too. So I think the pricing is there. I don't think that's an issue. I paid $320 for my crawler pre-order. Again, I think that's fine. And I do believe he's switching to Riot for the next knife, the Abyss. So the pricing is going to go up a little bit. I can guarantee you that. But it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. And I don't want to sit here and like shit on Best Tech. I really like Best Tech. They do great OEM work. I'm glad they exist and do things because Finch is awesome. Vero is awesome. But would I prefer this was made by Riot? Yes, 100%. I wouldn't be talking about that centering issue. I wouldn't be talking about any blade play. The detent for sure would probably be somehow dialed in better, even though, as stated, I know why it is the way it is. It's just because Riot is the best, in my opinion. But this knife is awesome. Recommendations. Guys, if you think this looks cool, and you can get one, because you can't really right now, you can't buy one new. You're going to be looking secondary. If you think this looks cool, and you can see the action from my, review here, I've tried to explain everything as well as I can. If that all sounds good to you, yes, go get one. But if you're just like a guy who likes a drop point or whatever, like, you like normal stuff, then stay away from this. This is out there. This is different. You're going to have to accept that it's not like all your other knives. It's different. That's why I like it. That's why I like this and the J-Cape. They're different. That's where I'm at in my collecting now. I want things that are a little different. The CKF Evo 2.0, crazy looking knife. Dinosaur knife. And that's just where I'm at. I was, at the beginning, I was, the Bug Out, the ZTO 450, the, whatever. Like, those are all kind of safe. This is not safe. This is Israel's first knife. He did not play it safe. And I love that. Taking risks. I just really appreciate that. I admire it, that somebody would take risks like that. And it paid off. He's killing it, guys. People love his stuff. And he's got plenty more coming. And I'm excited to be there for it. I have a new knife company that I'm stoked to follow. And 2 of them now with Something Obscene Company too. And that really makes me happy. Because I was getting to the point where I felt like there wasn't new things coming out. And I don't know if I was getting bored or jaded with the knife community. I don't want to say it that way because it's not really how I mean it. But I was just kind of like, what's next, right? Like, I don't know. Last year was so exciting because it was new to me. And the Malibu and the Waypoint, the 80-20, and all these things are flying at me. And that kind of hasn't happened this year. And I'm going back and kind of catching up with the things I missed. And this is one of those guys. Absolutely phenomenal knife by a phenomenal maker. The Arcane design Necronaut is a fantastic knife, guys. Leftability on this, I got to give it like a 6. A 6 or a 7 even for a righty knife. Just because they really, really helped us out here with this pivot collar. And I can really enjoy playing with it left-handed, no problem. No issues with lock bar or anything. So, fantastic knife. I really appreciate you guys letting me rant and rave about this knife endlessly. I love you so much. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you later.